what is an amazing antagonist, and why do people like? Because a lot of people write. I've read so many scripts, horrible villains, and then in movies, horrible antagonists. And I always use my favorite antagonist. One of my favorite cinematic antagonists of all time is the Joker in Dark Knight, who's just as perfect of an antagonist because he mirrored Batman in every way. He was the opposite, and I love that. What in your opinion, what makes a great antagonist? And if you have an example of that.
Well, the three-dimensionality, that they're the human being, that we can understand why they are the way they are, and they're not the same as every bad guy we've ever seen. They're not a one-dimensional mustache-twirling villain.
You read my mind, right?
Yeah, but they're also not just the standard version of, they're a villain who talks in a nice and cultured way like they're your friend, but they're really, not. I mean, one that comes to mind is, Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that opening sequence,
Oh.
he is on one level, he is that version of pure evil pretending to be super friendly and have a sense of humor and be cultured, and I'm working with you and we're friends, which we've seen a million times. But that's where the the originality comes in. The specific way he's written and the way he performs it somehow transcends even that kind of that cliche.
It's terrifying. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
That 7-minute scene is what won him the Oscar. I don't believe that first 7 minutes was like, well, that's just give it to him.
Yeah.
There's no question. And someone like Hannibal Lecter, who is an amazing anti-hero, like you are literally rooting for a serial killer who eats people.
Well, and I would point out he's not the antagonist in that movie.
Right.
He's the helper of the protagonist.
Right.
And he's super interesting. You understand what he wants and what's in the way of that. So he kind of has his own story. But I would say Buffalo Bill, played by Ted Levine, who was the star of the first thing I ever wrote professionally, which was an episode of From the Earth to the Moon. He played Alan Shepard.
He's an amazing actor.
To me, Buffalo Bill is what makes that movie. People never talk about him, but those few scenes of him being creepy alone are so real and feel so just like not like other serial killer things in movies where because even Hannibal Lecter is kind of glamorized. Look at what a genius he is or whatever, which I always find, I mean, Anthony Hopkins obviously transcended this, but I always find that I don't love it when serial killers are portrayed as these like incredible geniuses that are outsmarting everybody. Somehow Buffalo Bill, he's outsmarting on one level. He knows how to like kidnap women and keep them hidden and all that stuff and not be found. But he's just this twisted,
sick
guy.
Dude. Yeah, he's just a sick
soul. To me, that felt very real, and it made the threat feel very real. So whenever you cut to him, to me, that you don't get to know him that well, but talk about an antagonist that just powers the whole movie. You just want to see that girl saved, and you really believe in the reality of Buffalo Bill.
She puts the lotion on the skin.
Yeah.
Now she gets the hose again. I mean, it's that was a brutal. I mean, it's such a brutal performance. Wonderful performance. But then later on, as the series continued, then the hero is Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal and Red Dragon and these kind of films, which is kind of like, what the hell? Like you're rooting for a serial killer, like you're rooting for Scarface, or you're rooting for Heisenberg, and you're like, does that say something about me as a viewer, or does that say something about the writer who wrote this?
It's the manipulation that the writer is doing to make you see things through the perspective of somebody that you otherwise would recoil from, and to give them problems that you want to see them solve, despite not liking certain things about who they are.